Hello Sagittarius, welcome to your 13th tarot reading. Okay, so I believe this one came out first. We have the Hermit, the Hangman reverse, Queen of Wands, the High Priestess reverse, Page of Cups, the Tower reverse, the Two of Cups reverse, Queen of Swords, the Ten of Cups, and the Seven of Cups reverse. Okay, so I believe it was last month that the situation itself, like relationship wise, work, business, and love and overall family relationships, it might have been like a little rough for you. And I do feel that for this month there's a lot more clarity moving forward, because at least you already know what has happened and how you can move forward. And I feel that you're kind of like propelled to move forward and kind of like pulled along, so you don't really have much say. And in the first 2 weeks, I do feel that a lot of you are putting on a very brave face, okay? So you're looking at the past, you've come to terms with it, and you've realized that, either you can sit and wait for it, or you can like choose to overlook it and continue with it. So I do feel that there's a little bit of a ambivalence here. So a lot of the information that might have been exposed, be it, like new information coming to light, especially last month, and you're trying to tell yourself what you should do, and I don't feel that you've made a decision about what you should do yet. It's still a little problematic. And that's why I say that you're putting on your brave face, because deep down, I feel that a lot of you might still be a little hurt and you're recoiling from this, okay? So there is a situation that has definitely fallen out. And with this in the reverse position, whatever it is that you were dealing with last month and to this point where it still tugs at your heartstring, I would advise you that with the Two of Cups in the reverse position, this is basically the relationship has run its course. That is the name of this card. The relationship itself is done. You and the other party have learned everything that is necessary, that is required of you in this union. So if it's a work relationship, if it's like, even if it's like a totally karmic, totally fated relationship, I do feel that it has run its course, okay? So cut your losses and move forward. A lot of you are trying to get to that point where you can actually like I feel that some of you might convince yourself of that fact, but you haven't really, like, your head and your heart are not on the same page yet for you to fully implement it and like to walk away without regrets. So you're still trying to figure things out, and that's okay. This seems like a very traumatic experience. We have the Tower in the reverse position because, it happened. It's very sudden. It did happen. And you can't really ignore this fact, but you're kind of like turning the other way. So, like I said, it could play out in two ways. A lot of you are like very, very hurt, and you are trying to figure out, should I just overlook it? I don't feel that it's a situation that you can overlook, because very quickly you are going to get reminders of this, and every time you're reminded of it, it hurts. It's like pin and needles, like sitting on pin and needles and waiting for everything to just like collapse. Like you're just waiting for like the signal, and then every time it just comes up. So it's really important to not be in denial about this and really accept it for what it was and just move on from this, because I don't feel it can be fixed. And in the same on the same note, by like overlooking it, it is going to resurface in the future, and it is going to be more hurtful. So I just want you to be aware of that fact, okay? And I feel this is for mainly for like Aquarius. I'm sorry, Sagittarius women. I do feel it mainly for Sagittarius women, that you are overlooking a lot of things. So it's very important for you to, take this month. It doesn't seem like a very hectic month. Emotionally, it's like a on and off. Like the first 2 weeks looks fine, and then the last 2 weeks, if you haven't dealt with the energy of the first 2 weeks, which is resolution, you are going to hit like brick walls towards the second 2 weeks. So it's important for you to just be really careful about how you want to direct this energy, okay? What I'm sensing is a lot of things come up and you have to like deal with them, but you are complacent and you are like sitting back. You're taking a step back rather than diving in head first, which could be good or bad depending on the situation that you're in. However, I do feel the overall energy is that you really have to be proactive, but instead you're taking a back seat approach. And what I'm sensing is a lot of you who are a little more complacent in this situation or who have chosen to take a back seat, it's because you don't know where to go, you don't know how to progress, and you don't want to make the wrong decision, okay? And I feel in general that you know where you're supposed to go, but there is a little bit of self doubt here that is hindering the progress. So just be a little careful about that, okay? And at the same time, what I'm sensing is like a kind of like a duality here. This is the Queen of Wands as a fire sign. This is representative of you, and wand energies are very like proactive, very like passionate. And then you have this Queen of Swords, which is like the analytical energy, okay? So this is like the mind, like your heart and mind are not in the same place because of this relationship, this work project, this falling out, this end to something. It's an end to something that you relied on, that you thought would have longevity, would have sustaining power, okay? And I do feel that in the past, too, whoever you were involved with, they promised you all these things that they could not deliver. And honestly, you knew they couldn't deliver. Okay, they like pulled you along, and you knew that they couldn't deliver on it, and yet you went along with it. And now, like it's getting to this point, and you can't like you were blaming yourself, but don't blame yourself because if you don't give that person a chance, you would live to regret it. So you did what you had to do given the information and given the circumstances. So don't beat yourself up over it, just move past it. In general, moving on is not going to be a problem for you. I feel that you just have to make up your mind to do it, and then it's like easy street, but it's just like you're grappling with this all the information that is given to you. You're fluctuating back and forth, and your mind and your heart are not in sync yet. So try to like, being a fire sign, I would say, try to like find it in your heart, all the good reasons in your heart why it is important for you to like just leave it behind completely and like start fresh, and then your mind will quickly like transfer over, okay, and then you'll be in the same place. So yeah, that would be the only advice that I can give in this situation regarding that falling out. But I would say, we've all been through it, and you can't have new things unless you get let go of the old. Okay, so really try to let go of the old because the old doesn't seem to be very conducive for longevity, and you're in a good place right now to actually implement new changes and new structure into your life. So really take this opportunity to do you rather than working on situations where the other party is not in sync with you. Okay, so really try to rectify that within yourself too, more than anything, because I do feel the external environment itself is pretty much laid out, is pretty set. So it's that's required right now is whether you want to like forge your own path or like go back, like work within the confines that somebody else set out for you, which is not fair, and they shouldn't have imposed that in the first place. But I do feel that they were premature in promising all these things and that they never had intentions on following through with. Okay, so moving in towards like the end of this month, what I do feel is that if you have people coming back from your past, and I feel that most of you will, okay, I want you to really take a good look at the past and see why they're in your past for a reason and how like you and the other person contributed to this current situation and how it has grown over time and what really transpired between the two of you. Okay, get like a little more sense of clarity. I feel that this is the first 2 weeks would be a good time to do that, and then the second the last 2 weeks of the month would be a good time to like strengthen your resolve to basically build up your armory to, if the person chooses to come back, then you can like demand answers. Then you can like arm yourself with all the right reasons why that's not a good idea, and why you shouldn't put yourself in that in that situation in the first place. So it's important for you to basically use your head. I feel that you are going to get weak around the knees when the other person apologizes, or when they come in bearing gifts, or like, bearing nice things. So it's important for you just to strengthen your resolve and proceed ahead as if they can't affect you, okay? Because I do feel that, rationality is out the door when this person is in the picture, and you know better than to trust this person, and yet, time and time again you give them a chance, and then you just end up with like an illusion. You just end up with like perpetually kept in the dark, perpetually confused by their actions, and kind of like not knowing what you want to do. So, without this energy in your life, everything seems like very clear cut. But then when this person is in your midst with all this watery, like, this is a water sign, but it could also be just like just emotional baggage. Okay, so I have a lot of cups energy with this tower. It's a major arcana, and then this other cups energy that didn't work out. So I feel like it didn't work out once, it didn't work out again, and there was like, possibly an argument as to who did what, and like accusations thrown back and forth. And I feel just in general, you can rise above all of this. This doesn't need to happen. So it just feels to me that this is cyclical. It should have ended, and it keeps going back. It keeps cycling back in. And like I mentioned this for Aquarius, this has happened many times for Aquarius and Pisces too. Just because it keeps cycling back in doesn't mean it's fated, because fate is what, fate and destiny are the things that our actions can dictate, can control. So you are not fated for anything you don't want to be, okay? But this is the problem here. I do feel that false promises leading to like high expectations, and then none of it just pans out. Things just flop, okay? So know who you're dealing with, and know the history. Know that people, as much as we want to invest in people, sometimes people just don't change, okay? And if they change, it requires, a lot of the times, it requires people hitting rock bottom for them to fully implement meaningful changes, meaningful and lasting changes in their lives. So that is just like, deep down, that is human nature. So if you're dealing with a person and you keep expecting them to change, I do feel that the lesson here is not, that one day they'll change and they'll come around. It's that you have to let go and release the outcome. Basically, don't be so heavily invested in the outcome that you lose yourself just trying to maintain that relationship, that situation, that work, that job. Um, if it hasn't changed by this time, I don't believe it's going to, okay? And it's important for you to like cut your losses and really get past this. And I'm getting the same type of readings across the board too, and I do feel that Mercury in retrograde is happening in me. So there would be communication problems, but at the same time, this is something drastic. This is not something that you can recover from overnight. It happens very swiftly, but at the same time, it is in the reverse position. So I feel that it has happened, or at the same time, like you kind of anticipated it happening. So then you have like more cushion. You have more time to deal with the aftermath, basically. So either way, I do feel that in general, it is not something that can be repaired. Coupled with this card, I don't feel that it's something that is even worth your time repairing, because it takes two and you're the only one putting in the effort, okay? So that's not going to work out very well. For some of you, this might be a relationship situation, or even a work situation in which you're dealing with somebody who you're like working really hard at your job. You're expecting like promotions, you're expecting to get like that corner office, or even like to move laterally, like even horizontally, like to manage a branch or another branch or something like that, or to expand into like a different market. And then you feel that you put in the work, and then the other person just goes ahead and, proceed with somebody else, or they promise, they promise, they promise, and they never follow through. And even till the end of this month, I don't feel there's resolution in this. There's any like definitive answer as to how you can proceed ahead. So they keep like sucking you back in, and they don't really have any like long-term solid plans for you. Okay, so in all aspects of your life, it is very, very important for you to like look at this situation, shed light on it, and really look at the patterns in behavior of the other party that you're dealing with. And if you see a pattern, it should that's a red flag. Okay, so if they're just like, very unpredictable and, sporadic, then maybe you can give them another chance. But if there are definitely like patterns of flakiness and lies and deceptions and misleading and things like that, it's just important for you to identify these patterns and just try to bridge the gap between your heart and your head. Okay, that's going to help you in all aspects of your life. So I'm very sorry for the grim reading once again, Sagittarius, but I do feel that, having, let's see, three, yeah, four major arcana here, it is going to be a so that I have cards, so one that's half of the cards laid out. Okay, so I do feel in general that it is going to be like a pivotal month for you. Like, you're basically at a crossroads. This is the way I'm looking at it, and you haven't made up your mind yet. So that's something that you is still within your power. And what I'm sensing is just this. So it can go two ways too. So this is, going back to things that didn't work, and then this is basically it. They're saying that you might be sucked into it by the end of this month. And then another way, this is all the bad things that are happening in life. Okay, relationship. This could be on the home life. This could be dealing with children. This could just be people are deceptive. Okay, so these are all the problematic things, and these are generally the better things that you want in your life. Okay, so you're in the middle here, and you're in a period of suspension. So you're still waiting, and you're turning away from that wait because you don't really want to wait anymore. But the wait is going to give you the insights that you need to move forward, because your intuition has been like leading you astray, and you kind of know this, but you don't really have anything tangible, anything like to grasp at. So you're just trying to move forward. Okay, and it's just between a rock and a hard place is what I'm sensing, because you don't want to go back to the past. So you're staying in one place and you're still trying to decide. And I don't feel you've made a decision yet. So hopefully the way this energy plays out is that you can reach a resolution, at least, to find a balance between your what it is that you want and what it is that's good for you. Because I feel that these things are in disarray. Okay, they're not in alignment with one another. And then when we have like inner conflicts, or when our heart and our minds are not in agreement, and inner conflicts are probably the worst kinds to be in, mainly because they stem from within, and we don't really take pride in being, the source of our own pain and our own anguish. So it's just important to like, rectify this, because once you do it, I feel that you're going to be okay. That's all you need. Like, that's the first step that you need, and then everything else will fall into their respective places. Okay, and life will get easier. So yeah, I am very sorry for the grim reading, but I do hope that you have clarity to move forward in this, and to at least figure out what it is that you want to do. And I'll come back next week for the weekly reading, and I hope the weekly reading sheds some insight, at least from a different perspective, so that we can at least resolve this. So thank you so much for watching. If you like a personal reading, please email me at temperatestar@gmail.com. And if you want to, I have a website now. It's a new website, just set up last month. It's underneath this, in the description box underneath this video. Okay, so thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.